We'll say something to an investor in French.
Oh,
and
okay.
then we'll do a short and put that short out there, and I'll have my first French short, and maybe it reaches out somebody there, and I can do a connection, live up to my name, Edgar the Connector.
Donc, pour tout le monde qui nous écoute ce soir ou aujourd'hui, pour sûr, connectez-vous au podcast de Edgar the Connector et contactez-nous et on sera très heureux de vous aider. But if you had asked me, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, hey, are you going to become a real estate investor? Are you going to like build this business that's built on that? I would have been like, why? Like nobody does that. But it was the people who were doing it that really showed us the path.
It's real estate, right?
It's real estate.
I love it.
100%.
Big plunge.
And it's funny because the reason we chose the name is that it was always like that in our relationship.
It was always like that. It was kind of ended up, some people take honeymoons, they go to great, tropical destinations and all that.
Hello and welcome to the Dream Start Home podcast. I'm your host, Edgar the Connector, and today we have Linda Holtz and Connor Holtz. Welcome.
Hey, thank
Hello.
you. Thank you for having us. How are you doing today?
Good. So you guys are married couple, right?
Sure.
Yep.
And then your company name is M2RE, Married to Real Estate,
Married
right?
to real estate.
I love it. Y'all brought in your business with your life. That's great. Your partnership.
100%.
Big plunge.
And it's funny because the reason we chose the name is that it was always like that in our
It
relationship.
was always like that. It was kind of ended up, some people take honeymoons, they go to great, tropical destinations and all that. We kind of doubled down on our multifamily real estate investing journey. So
Yeah.
It's kind of ties in there.
And we can go into a little bit of details, but basically right after getting married is when the business took off. So it was like, well, married to real estate now.
I love it. I was going to ask that. So did you guys do real estate before you got married, or was it something that happened afterwards?
Yeah. I mean, it's a long journey. We both came from property management. It's kind of the family business in Chicago. Obviously, a massive industry there. My mother's a property manager. Sister's a property manager. Now, wife was a property manager, and I worked in it as well briefly.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
Yeah, and that's how we got started. Like Connor mentioned, my mother-in-law's a property manager, but before that, she was in development. And so we kind of met through the property management industry in Chicago. And eventually we were like, okay, well, let's buy a house and we might as well buy one that we can house hack so that it's our house, but it's also an investment. And so those are the investments that we got into before getting married. And then right after, we scale into the larger apartment complexes that we do now.
Fantastic. So tell me about that one that you bought. So it was going to be your together house, but it was also house hacking?
Yeah. And
what did your house hack? Rooms or additional unit?
Pretty much rooms. I mean, we upgraded. It was during COVID. So there was a little bit of time there where we had just time on our hands and we didn't have, the rental market in Chicago in particular, right as COVID sort of stabilized or died down, wasn't as, gave us time. We were kind of trying to get renters in. And I'm not the most handy, but I figured some things out, and it was still earlier on in our relationship. So we figured out a lot of stuff about each other.
Yeah, that was actually the first time we lived together. Yeah. And because COVID started, it was like, oh, you're going to live together because you can't go anywhere else.
You're going to be spraying your groceries and you're going to be doing, all those sort of things that we were doing during that time. But also,
becoming landlords
during
that side.
And even the process, even the stuff that was a little bit too big for us, we painted the house. So obviously we hired a company for that, but just a lot of the decisions started to really kind of integrate itself into our relationship.
Absolutely, yeah, and obviously a lot of the good things because that's what got us here. 5 years, fast forward 5 years, but even some of the frustrations and some of the rookie mistakes that we obviously made from being new, that we went through all that together.
Wow. Meeting right before COVID, then COVID happening, and you guys being like locked into the place together. Y'all really did learn a lot about each other.
Sure.
And then 5 years later, you guys are still together. So y'all learned some things that you really liked about each other then.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Chicago's where y'all met, and then now you're in Houston. What made the move to Houston?
Yeah, so starting in during COVID in Chicago, obviously was a difficult place. You know, was very, like we said earlier, quarantine and the city really shut down. So between that and also the fact that, you know, we run into some not so fun experiences with renters, we realized that if we were going to grow our business, which we wanted to, we wanted to scale it in an area that was going to be a lot more landlord friendly and then also a lot more business friendly. And we have some family down here, and it's a much nicer weather. So when you combine all of that together, that's why we landed in Houston. And I can't believe it, but that was 4 years ago.
4 years ago, we looked at a couple markets, kind of all that had similar parameters, weather being a big one, but also, you know, real estate friendly, landlord friendly, and what were the areas that were kind of blowing up at the time. So like the Orlandos, the Phoenixes, the Carolinas, even. And Ty kind of went to Houston because Houston's got family, and that's obviously such a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Houston. Welcome to Houston. Hopefully they've been hospitable to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Southern hospitality to its finest.
Great. I'm born and raised. So if you need some suggestions somewhere, let me know and I'll be happy to put it out. You guys have been here 4 years, so you're already transplants and transients ready to go.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, it's so big. It's, you know, similar to Chicago in that, but even almost a little different in that I feel like, you know, you can discover something new every month.
Yeah.
And there's just so many little pockets of areas that have, you know, great cuisine and a lot to do. So we're always looking for suggestions.
But it's so spread out. I mean, you know, we all connected. I mean, I knew you from Squad Up before, but we all connected also at this local meetup here in Houston, Cal's Meetup. And we met this other gentleman there a couple of weeks ago. And so we just happened to be on the phone with him today. And it made me laugh when he said Houston is an hour away from Houston, right? Everybody knows the phrase, but it's really true. So it's definitely an interesting market for that.
Shout out to Kel and his meetups. He did some very good meetups. He was speakers on it recently about multifamily.
Correct.
Congrats on that.
Correct.
Thank you. That was a big one. It was a big one. I mean, really together. Our first in person.
Yeah, that was our first time speaking together.
You know, we've done it on webinars. She's done it individually. I've done it individually. But, you know, we had been to Cal's Meetup multiple times as well, too. So we kind of got to see how people do it. But then we pull up that day and the parking lot at the bar is full. And we're like trying to find parking. We're like, we know it's going to be a packed house tonight. And naturally, you get a little bit of those nerves. And I don't think either one of us have too many issues public speaking, but it's just...
Yeah, you get those readers where you're like, oh boy, it's a full house. And I'm the one speaking.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I get you. I get nervous here sometimes on the podcast still. I recently did a podcast for a non-community member, somebody I never met. And I was a little bit nervous. This guy's done millions and millions of exits. And it's nerve-wracking sometimes.
Of course, no, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's also fun to kind of like do something new, right? Because for us, we had, like Connor said, we had done some webinars. We have one that we did all summer that's ending tomorrow. Yeah. But to have it, and we have spoken in public separately, but to do that together in person, that was fun. So
it was fun, and then the nerves died out right as everything started. That part was a little surprising because I try not to sound nervous, or just for you can get to your train of thought and what you want to convey. But like right before we went on, and you know that group is so great about making people feel comfortable. But it ended up being great, and honestly, I would do it again, and we plan on doing it again. Shortly. Yeah,
we have another one in a couple of weeks, different meetup, but basically similar thing. And what I loved about it too is, again, shout out to Kill and George, because for them, what they really told us was, hey, tell your story. Like it's not a quiz. There's no wrong answer. It's not hard questions. It's just tell us who you are authentically. And for us, that's a big part of our personality, of our brand, is that we want to do business with people because we're people. Like, we're not trying to be a big corporation, or at least we're not there yet. We're not trying to, hide behind, I don't know, like the fancy makeup or the big clothes.
No,
we're just people.
Yeah.
It's crazy to put too much effort into trying to be anything that we're not. And there's obviously so many people out here, and people are doing their own thing where like this sets us apart, just being ourselves. And We can talk about the business side. We love that. We're nerds
sure.
of the game. We love to talk about all of that. But really, it was, telling a little bit about even what we talked about tonight and our journey and kind of how it's progressed both fast and it also feels like it's been a decade. So it's kind of that in between. But it went great. We had great questions, great interaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. When you're nervous at first, but once you start talking and you've spoken it, you get comfortable, it just starts flowing like second nature. So your property in Chicago, do y'all still have that or did y'all get away from it?
Oh.
We sold that when we moved down, which was also another experience for us to go through because like Connor mentioned, when we bought the property, it was definitely a fixer-upper. Like, for example, painting the exterior was not planned at first, but it came from the fact that, I always said the property used to look like a horror movie from the outside. So we had done some work on the inside. We had done if anybody's familiar, an FHA 2 or 3K loan. So the 2 or 3K part means that we had, I think, $50,000 or $55,000 budget at the time, specifically to do renovations. So you cannot take on like a gut rehab, but you can do a little bit of things. So we had used that for everything interior, thinking, well, the outside is the outside. It's not going to stop people. But it did.
Yeah.
So we eventually had to repaint the exterior too. And so long story short, we did a lot of work both in and out, thinking we were going to own this property forever. And then all of a sudden we decided to move. And even then we were like, well, we're managers. We can manage it from afar. Let's just find a property manager and we can be on top of them. But as everybody knows now, hindsight 2020, that move was in 2021. So the interest rates were amazing and everybody was buying and it was definitely a seller's market. And we called our realtor who had found us the house and we said, hey, we're moving. Can you find us a property manager? And she was like, are you serious? Like, if you're leaving, you have to sell this house. Like, this is the best moment. And we did. And out of nowhere, we really did not expect that it was going to appreciate that quickly, that high. But based on the work we had done and based on the perfect time in the market, we ended up, it made just so much sense to get rid of it, unfortunately. So we sold it. And actually recently we were looking at it online and it has appreciated even more in just 4 years. So it's crazy how the market works.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially after COVID. But the great thing is since it was your primary residence, you were able to take out a good portion without it being taxed, which is the plus. If you're going to sell one, sell your primary, so you can take advantage of that tax savings.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love it. So when you came down to Houston, did you buy your own property? Did you lease? What did y'all decide to do?
So at first we rented.
We rented an apartment, did the whole, treat ourselves, get a nice apartment.
Yeah, be renters again.
Be renters again, Class A, I think.
Yeah.
In a Class A area. My brother also lived here at the time, so we wanted to be close to him and my nephews. We did single family home at first. But we still wanted to, obviously, we were looking for that triplex or fourplex like we had in Chicago. I wouldn't say there's as many around here. More like townhomes or condos or single family.
Especially where we ended up living was a little bit outside of the city. So it's, again, you may find a couple of duplexes, but you're not going to find those quads that you're going to see downtown, right? So for us, it was like, okay, that's fine as long as we're continuing to invest. But it's gonna take us a very, very long time to scale. And that's why we ended up pivoting to multifamily.
I love it. Great information. It's funny you talked about the FHA 203K. I don't know if I had heard about it. I completely forgot about it. But the last podcast guest, Jim Vandy, shout out. He actually mentioned it as well, the 203K. So having two people back to back talk about it, it's really cool.
Yeah.
What a coincidence. Yeah.
That's great.
I wonder if it's newer because I know when we bought our house in 2002, we would have loved to have that extra funding to put it towards that. But I guess it's depending on how you buy the house as well, like what loan to value, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know when it started, but same thing as you. I remember not knowing about it until my realtor mentioned it. And I will say, another reason why we got into the game too is because we were surrounded by investors. I think having a network that supports you and motivates you is very important because at the time, when we decided like, hey, we're going to move into something that we're going to own, for me, that was the end of it, right? Like I'm from another country. So it was like, well, if I own at least my house in America, this is already a big win. But I knew of one of my building engineer where I was a property manager, and he mentioned, you need to call this lady because of the fact that she's a realtor, but she's also an investor herself. And why did he tell me that? Because he was an investor himself. And so, who you surround yourself with is really going to push you, because for me, it was these two people who inspired us to say like, hey, it's great to own. But if you are going to own, take that step forward and actually start investing at the same time. Investing was not necessarily on our radar until like maybe a year before we bought. It was like, okay, well, now that we're going to buy, let's start educating ourselves, reading a lot of books, listening to Bigger Pockets. But if you had asked me like, I don't know, 15 years ago, hey, are you going to become a real estate investor? Are you going to like build this business that's built on that? I would have been like, why? Like nobody does that. But it was the people who were doing it that really showed us the path.
That's awesome. Knowing that you learned it from the who, which is the biggest thing, is not just the how, is to get to the how is to find out the who. And then they always talk about surrounding people with that things that you want to do, but you didn't even know that you wanted to do that. And then just being in those rooms opened up your eyes to it and helped you get to the point that you guys are at now. So it's amazing that you're actually hearing that the cliche that people say, you guys are like, learned from it and went from there. It's awesome.
Yes.
Now you're in Houston, you bought your house. What made you turn into multifamily?
Yeah. So for us, it was 100% scaling. Yeah. We really wanted to be able to, like, I already knew at that point that I wanted to retire. And by retire, meaning like live 100% off of real estate, eventually do the same for you as well. And it was like, again, going back to the whole idea of doing that with single family homes, because we were doing buy and hold too, right? Like at the time we had never wholesale, we had never flipped, we had never thought of like creative terms or anything like that. So in our mind, it was every year you have to move into a house and then to get a nice loan and then eventually move out and do it again. And we thought it was going to take forever. And that's why we got into multifamily, in order to kind of shorten that idea of, hey, if we can start doing this full time in the next 5 to 10 years instead of 15 to 20, that's what we were looking for.
Very, very incredible fact about doing that, to be able to scale faster, because instead of doing one at a time, you basically get, it's still one, but it's one with many doors and just a lot more income coming in. Tell us about your first deal, your multifamily deal.
Oh, yay.
It's a great one.
So should we talk about the first? Because that one we were passive investors. Or should we talk about our first active investors?
I like
exactly how you learned.
Yeah, I like that part of the story, because for us, we were still kind of learning and going through the education process, but we were aggressive and we wanted to kind of do both at the same time. But we had enough respect for the process to know like we weren't going to come in and kind of have GP control with as a learning experience, right?
Yeah.
So
by GP we mean like be on the active operating side of things. We realized like no one was going to give us a 100-unit building and say, hey, do you want to partner with me on this?
And we didn't want to necessarily do that either, because we were still gauging, we had property management experience. We had done real estate investing and ownership on a different scale, but we didn't want to, do what we didn't know just yet. And so part of being passive, we said, hey, we want to be on the asset management calls. We want to be on the email chains, everything like that. And very quickly we realized, hey, we can do this full on ourselves.
So our first one where we were passive, that was 65 units. Yeah. So we literally went from, at that time, we only had one last single family home that had an ADU. And we lived in it, right? So really the ADU was our only investment property, if I can call it that. I think we had one other, I don't remember. But anyway, so we went from like 1 or 2 to 65 units in that one transaction. Now, obviously, we don't own all 65 units by ourselves, but it was a very big jump mentally. And in terms of mindset, really feeling like, oh, wow, now we're building a whole portfolio. And like Connor mentioned, it was very important for us that if we were going to do that, even while being passive, we wanted to learn. So we approached the team and said, hey, we want to put money into this deal. But we don't want to just be your typical passive investor who like maybe tunes into the webinars a couple of times a year. We want to kind of like, as long as you let us, kind of like listen in weekly and not participate, but take notes. And they agreed because they knew where we were going.
That's very insightful for people learning that are being passive, that really want to get into it. 65 units, and then just asking to be not even making decisions, because GP is a general partner where you have more control. So you were a LP limited partner, but being able to see the everything, the wizard behind the curtains, the man behind the curtain, right? To see how it's running. Okay, fantastic. Where did you find that partner to even invest into it?
Yeah, so for us, one thing that we were huge on is networking.
Yep.
We're very big on relationships. I was saying before we came on that I just changed my office. We're in my home office right now. But I had a little sign that was on the wall before that said aggressive but selective. And all of our first year, that was really our motto, was we want our first deal, but we want to make sure that we don't get into anything just to get into something. So it was very intentional for us to find the right partners and really understand, like, hey, what are we getting into? Are we driving with these people? Right. All of that. And yeah, for that specific deal, the first one, we ended up finding it through a partnership with another couple that was from our same mastermind originally.
And what mastermind was that?
We were part of
Multifamily Mindset.
Okay. So I was wondering, maybe you were in the Cardone, because he kind of did what he did. He had the single family, then sold it and put it all into multifamily.
Yeah,
no, it's on our radar for sure.
Yeah, and we didn't do the Cardone at the time, but we have a very good friend, shout out to Annette out of San Antonio. That's how she started. Yeah. She was also passive first and then eventually active with Grant Cardone, is my understanding.
Okay, fantastic. And I like that, aggressive but selective.
Yeah. Kind of naturally became our rallying cry, our motto. I mean, especially when you're in these sort of mentorships or masterminds, it's you got a lot of a collection of inexperienced people. And we kind of came in not to like put ourselves ahead, but we felt like we weren't at square one. We had some knowledge and everything, but you obviously have a lot of people that are just striving for that first deal and highly motivated and excited and willing to make it happen. And for us, I always like to say, when people talk about the deals we've been on, I always try to bring up the deals we didn't get on. Teams whether it was deal specific, team specific, some combination of both. Being aggressive, because you can say no, but you got to make sure you've got a good pipeline and that you're still, operating your business, because it can be easy to say no and good opportunities as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was just talking to a gentleman yesterday, years of experience in this business, hundreds of transactions. And he was telling me they're about to close this week on their first property since 2023. So again, that's why we wanted the aggressive part, because it's like when you do bigger deals, most people who are experienced and do it well in the game, they know that you're not going to do 50 a year. You lucky if you'll do like 2 or 3 right now in the current climate that we're in. You might do a little bit more when the market is good. But that was definitely in the back of our minds. Like, we don't want to do just any deal at any cost, but we also have to be careful not to accidentally say no to a good opportunity just because we don't recognize it when it's time, right?
Yeah, for sure. Fascinating on the choices that you make about selecting, like seeing the good deals, but saying, this one, even though it makes sense, the people might not be the right, or just something, the way they say, the way they act is just not there. Can you talk about a deal that you remember, you're like, I want to, but decided not to?
Oh yeah, I think Connor can remember.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a couple, and I mean, sometimes it's not even, it can be a little bit of the deal's fault, and maybe not even so much the team, or you got to remember, and it's a partnership over 3, 5, 7, 10 years in some instances, or even, the legacy properties where they're going to hold it for longer. And if there's going to be, it's a business, right? And there's going to be issues. And
it's not when, it's not if, it's when.
If it's when, right? And everybody, if you're already kind of having some misalignment when you're just in the, like, you have a snapshot to get to know these people. So if you're already a little misaligned, just in like almost the honeymoon phase or the dating phase, you can imagine when things when the rubber hits the road a little bit and things pop up, you kind of, indicate. And there was one instance.
It was during the underwriting.
There was a deal
came up,
in Texas, not in Houston, but in Texas. And we knew we had met the operator, the person looking to partner in person, but didn't know very well. So we're trying in and they were moving fast. So it was a span of like a weekend, but then kind of putting stuff ahead of the horse in front of the car, or the car in front of the horse, I guess, in this instance. And
which wouldn't have scared us if it was a more established person, but because we knew that was not the case, that was a red flag for us. And then other red flags came up during the numbers that, red flags are not always like they can turn into an orange flag, if I can say that, like that, if you have a reasoning, right? But when we did ask questions, deeper questions, the answers that were given to us were vague enough that we were like, oh, you don't like we can agree to disagree on being on the more conservative or more aggressive side. But if you don't even know why you put in a number where you put it, then that's really like, we cannot come back from that. So like things like that one in particular, we know exactly which one we're thinking about. Obviously not going to name names or anything.
Well, we want a deal that performs. You know, there maybe is some instances where people kind of just look to get a deal. Yeah. But we have, we believe in doing right by our investors, by, the team that we're putting together, and our reputation. Reputation's all you have, and it's hard to build it, but it's even harder to rebuild it after it's been
shattered. Exactly.
So for us, we're like, we're very protective of that. And I mean, this was even prior to us getting to the point we're at now. So I'm very happy that previous Linda and Connor made that decision, and it wasn't even anything personal. It's easier to say no when those things sort of happen versus, when you have great rapport.
And I think it comes from property management that we're not afraid to have the difficult conversations. But like Connor said, if you're having to have those early on, then what's the point of moving forward,
Yeah, definitely. Because it's a long-term relationship. It's not just one and done. So very, very insightful, very helpful to the people that are listening and to get into the situation. Sometimes getting to that first deal, you want to just hurry up and do it because just check off that box that I did a deal. Yeah. But as you said, you want it to be performing. You want to make sure your investors are covered. So you said you have investors. You have people that invest with you. It's not just you two but purchasing the properties then.
Correct. Yeah. So far, we've done all syndications, which means that we have partnered up with other active investors, like more seasoned operators who are able to sign on loans and all that. And we have partnered with them. And together we own anywhere from 20 to 30% of the deal. And the rest is owned by the investors. That everybody as a team brings them together.
And most of those investors are limited partners?
Yes, correct. Which is like that first deal that we were on, we were the limited partners.
Yeah, it's very easy for us to sell that because, as we're in those shoes, right? So
absolutely. So we understand what it feels like, and there's a lot of things that, again, going back to our property management background, we understand that side of the business. So there was a lot of for me, I'm a very communicative property manager. I always like to tell people, even if it's a bad news, I'd rather tell you than keep you in the dark. Even if I don't have an update, I'd rather tell you, stuff like that. So it was very important for us to understand, hey, stepping into the syndication world, what does that look like for passive investors? Like how often do you hear from the operators? And of course, we mentioned earlier that we're a little bit weird limited partners because we wanted to learn, so we get more information than most. But yeah, it was a matter of understanding, like, once we do bring on people, what is their experience going to be like? We want to understand that for ourselves so that we can better explain it to them, better set the expectation, but also so that we can see, hey, if we end up partnering with a team and we don't like how they treat our investors, then we'll know, hey, this is not how we want to do it business together. Maybe in the future, we'll do it differently. So I think it's something that this business has taught us is that deals are deals, but teams are really who you want to bet on and who you want to be careful about.
So profound. Thank you for that helpful tip there. Into your deals, do you ever have, I guess, in your operating agreement set up to where you can buy out partners that aren't performing or kick them out?
Yeah. I think LPs can always kick us out if we don't perform. And I think it's important, right, to have those protections. At the end of the day, it is a legal agreement. It is an investment. And there are risks. And I'm always the first one to tell investors, don't do anything that you're not going to that you're gonna sleep over.
She loves to say, don't invest if it's your last dollar or anything like that. I mean,
don't invest if you don't understand it.
If you're not ready now, and I mean that's kind of a weird thing to say. We are, trying to raise, but also if it's something you don't maybe have the stomach for or the back funds for, then save up and use that time as education. We'll still be here doing this, and there'll always be other people as well. Even when we have deals that maybe are done raising or situation's not right, we're fine with referring an investor as well. So I think that definitely relays a little bit of selflessness. That's a big part for us because we're all in, obviously money makes the world go around, but there are other motivations for us too in being involved.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I always say, I think that if we could all help just one person, the world would be a better place, right? You don't have to help me just because I helped you, as long as we all help someone out there. And so that's what we always tell people, like, look, right now, for example, we have a 506C deal. And I was talking to an investor yesterday who is not accredited. So for anyone out there, if it's a 506C, that means they cannot get on. They cannot put their money in. So right away, I told him, like, that's okay. If you go and find another deal and you just want another set of eyes or another set of eyes or a second opinion, come to me. Like, I don't care that it's not my deal. As long as you want to put money into it, let's make sure that you're doing it right, that you understand the whole thing. And I think that is very important to kind of, even for us, to have those people that you can go to and say, hey, look at what I'm doing here. Does it make sense to you?
That's some extraordinary people you guys are, being there to be so courteous to the investors and not just be like, do you got this or not? Get out of here. But no, being more, because there's people like that, and
sure.
I mean,
that's why you're invited to the podcast. You guys are nice people. Yeah, definitely.
There was one thing that always stuck with me. I will always remember. I think it was when we first joined our mastermind, and I don't remember if it was like who said it, but somebody said, "I'm scared to lose people's money," and the instructor or the coach said, "That's exactly why you should do it." Because there are so many people out there who don't care about that if it's not their money. and I don't want to like throw shade to anyone, but that I will always remember the person saying, if you are scared of losing someone's savings, that's why you're the right person to handle it, because you're going to treat it accordingly,
Great point there. So I guess I should be more into it because I'm scared to death to lose other people's money. Are you buying multifamily all over the States?
We always say we don't hamstring ourselves. I mean, obviously Texas Triangle. We look at, Carolinas. Obviously we have something in Oklahoma, and we have our sweet spots that we like, and for a lot of the reasons most people do. But we also say we follow the deal more so than we follow the market. I think it's important to keep your options open, and there are being deals done nationwide, more in some instances than there are some areas than others, but we are willing to make anything work as long as the numbers work, and
as long as we like the team,
right, and the plan, the exit strategy, the whole deal. So.
Exactly. If it's a team that's experienced, that knows what they're doing, and their numbers check out, why not? But we definitely love the Texas Triangle.
Texas
Triangle, Houston, San Antonio, and
Dallas. And Austin in between, and everything in between. I mean, it's an economic powerhouse, and it hits a lot of the parameters that you like for multifamily, especially. I mean, a lot of industries, but definitely multifamily, population growth, job growth.
Yeah, for sure.
Variety of industries.
Absolutely.
So, like myself, I don't know this. So how's the property tax and insurance for multifamily compared to like single family? Because it's a pain in single family in Texas.
Yeah. And it is a pain in multifamily too.
Multiply.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most part, yeah.
Trust me, we definitely had to have those conversations. I think it's quieting down a little bit. Like, as of today, we're in September 2025. 2024 was definitely a difficult year. But I think that at the end of the day, there's still deals penciling out. With real estate, it's all about when you buy, like, people say you make your money when you buy. I personally think it's true. Like, going back to that first triplex in Chicago, yes, it was only 3 units. But another thing that really helped us is that we had really negotiated it during Christmas season, which obviously when you're in the Midwest, if you're selling during winter, it's tough, right? If you're buying, that's when you have the most negotiating power. That's what happened to us. So yeah, you want to make your money when you buy. So there are times when it's difficult, but I think that you can always find deals that pencil in. You just have to deal with your with the parameters of the market that you want to invest in. I mean, otherwise people would never buy investment properties in New York or LA anymore, but they still do. So I think in anything you can find deals for sure. And it also depends on your resources and everything that you have available to make it work.
It's a good reason to keep track, and I don't like to, but follow the news and see what's happening legislation-wise. I know it's something in Texas especially they're trying to fix.
Mm-hmm.
I know, waiting on laws to pass and those things to change it can be a long-term play, but it's also a good reason to keep your investors up to date, and that's questions we get asked. So
yeah, and not to pivot too much away from the topic at hand, but you just touched on something that's very important. Is for us, we have built a brand of like sharing content, right? And I think a lot of people who raise money out there or talk to investors are always sharing, and so those are easy things to talk about too. It's like, hey, right now everybody was talking about the big beautiful bill and bonus depreciation, or I know for a lot of people who focus on a wholesaling strategy, there were some laws changing in certain markets on the East Coast. And so all of those things are things that you can talk about. Like if you are in marketing and building a brand of any kind, use all of this information, not just to your advantage to find deals, but also to share information with investors and educate people out there.
Yeah, well said. Bonus depreciation, does that work for multifamily as well?
Oh, and it's great.
Awesome.
It's definitely something that's, like Connor mentioned, it's the same except multiplied.
Fantastic. So if you're a high net worth individual making a lot of income and need a place to get a tax savings or tax returns, we're not CPA, so this is for entertainment purposes.
Yes.
But check out your multifamily. You'll be able to scale that a lot faster. Again, scaling, that word keeps on popping up from single family to multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. And I'll share a quick story. Again, disclaimer, not a CPA, not a tax professional. And also everybody's situation is different. But I remember some of our old coaches sharing one investor sometime of theirs. So I don't know all the details, but one of their investors who had invested $100K with them and got $97K just in tax savings that first year. So when you think about it, it's like, in a way, you already made whole year one just from the tax savings. So it's just the beauty of like how exponential those savings are because you're looking at much bigger assets.
Isn't that so amazing, being able to put in a certain amount of money if you do it right with the property, and being able to get, if you have income tax, get a lot of that back to where you basically almost that 1% of your deal or zero. It's just amazing what you can do with real estate.
Absolutely. But I will say, watch out for Recapture. And if you don't know what that is, reach out to us. We'll explain, because I never want to be the kind who's like, we're only going to talk about the rosy parts. Yeah.
No, it's great. Yeah. You got to make sure it's something you're going to hold for a while.
Yes, exactly.
What is it? What type of properties are you looking for? So you said you follow the deal. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, usually B-class assets. I mean, even A-class. What's the year? Nothing older than.
So right now we're looking at things that were like 80s and after. Funny enough, I had a conversation today that was the second one this month with a more seasoned investor talking about how they're moving more towards those B+, A- assets, easier to manage, right? But for us, yeah, we definitely started by doing our bread and butter being value add. So typically B and C properties that you're trying to turn into A or B properties instead. And sometimes it's not always what the property looks like. Sometimes it could be how it's operated, how it's managed by a management team. If there's a way to, like, the property already looks great, but you want to add amenities, add something. So that's what we focus on for the longest. Like Connor mentioned, 80s or after, ideally 60 units or more, because for us, we don't really want to be landlords anymore. We've done it. We're not really good at it.
We're pretty good. all things considered. But yeah, we want something that's a little bigger. You're not gonna yes, exactly. You're not gonna feel the hurt if there's a move out or two.
Correct.
Exactly the same. And
you want to have a property manager who gets those 3 a.m. calls.
Yeah, and I think even with the value add, you can kind of do the improvements and the capex over a bit more of a spread out time than kind of having to throw all those materials and supplies and labor into a short period. It can be a little bit challenging. Yeah,
absolutely. And then of course, something that's in the path of progress. I mean, we touched on the market already. But for us, it's very important to look at assets that even if the neighborhood is not the best right now, it's changing and it's getting kind of gentrified and getting better over time. If that's where it's sitting right now, or if it's already in a nicer area, but it's a not so nice property that we can upgrade, those are definitely the type that we like to take a look at.
Path of progress. You're the second person I've heard talk about that. Pace Morby, shout out to him. And then where do you find that? The path of progress.
So I think that for the acquisition, it's a lot of relationship, but also kind of proven record, right? Like, I mean, we always joke about how the second we close on our first deal as a GP, now the brokers were calling us because now it's public information or because they saw a post or whatever it was, that now all of a sudden you have that proof of concept, like, hey, you are able to close. We see it. We see your name and the ink is dry. So now let me try to get you more deals. So yeah, you definitely want to develop those relationships with brokers, with other owners, like potential sellers and all of that. But I also think that the law of the first deal is real. And that's probably why sometimes people want to get on their first deal so bad, is because once you have one and people start knowing about it, they will come to you and it will be even easier to say, okay, well, now the deal flow is coming to me instead of the opposite. Let me be selective about where I want to be. And like Connor mentioned, is there population growth? Is there job growth? Is something coming to that area? I mean, this year we're closing on a property soon. And in that market, this year they'll open a cheese factory that's going to be a $10 billion with a B, $10 billion economic change to that area. So and sometimes it's as easy as following the mozzarella plants.
Just keeping track. I mean, local chamber of commerce, they'll have newsletters or that sort of thing. I mean, Google is your friend as well, and kind of
AI.
Getting creative. A lot of these markets will have big industries that are, about to open up a warehouse anywhere there's an Amazon facility or, something like that's going to all of a sudden kind of change the employment dynamic in that area. And it's all of a sudden going to be very beneficial to those in multifamily and really real estate as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't remember who said it first because at this point, so many people did. I'm sure Pace Morby said it at some point. But there is such a thing as the law of like whether you want to call it Chick-fil-A or Chipotle or Whole Foods, but like those businesses that have millions of marketing dollar budget. And if you see that there's one coming to your area, that's where you want to invest, because if it's good enough for their marketing experts, that's probably where you should follow.
100%. We moved to Northeast Houston, not Conroe, Crosby. When we moved in 2020, there wasn't a Chick-fil-A yet. There wasn't a Wingstop yet. And then in 2 years, we got those. The only thing we're missing is a Chipotle.
I love it. And Crosby is actually very close to another property of ours that's in Dayton. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I went out. How far?
Yeah.
I haven't been down there yet. I see the sign, but I never go.
Houston's an hour from Houston.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, through Crosby
all the time. Every time we go over there. And so talking about stores for fellow Texans, we heard a rumor that there's an HEB going to that area. So for us, it's like sport, right? Like we're super excited. Exactly.
Heck yeah.
Already own there, because if that is indeed coming during the either while we own it or it's going to get built right after, and it can help us on the sale on the back end. Like those are all the things that you want to look at and keep your hand on the pulse for sure.
How big is the property in Dayton?
128 units.
Okay, very nice. Next time you go, let me know. I'll try to make it some time to meet out there with you. That'd be awesome.
For sure,
make some content out there. Heck
yeah, I love it.
Like most entrepreneurs, I don't sleep enough. So the hours that I do sleep need to be of better quality. The 8 Sleep Pod, it has been a game changer for me. Perfect temperature all night, less snoring, and I actually wake up refreshed. And my wife does as well, which is a huge plus. Happy wife, happy life. You can try it through my affiliate link below. Now we go back to the episode.
Yeah, recently we went with
almost bi-weekly. I mean, it's a big part of us, being a part of the asset management and being boots on the ground here in Houston. And it's not always easy, especially if you don't time it right. It could be spending most of your day in the car. But for us, it's important to show face, especially with the property management company and kind of showing that the team is here on site and we do care. And I think the team as a whole is really showing.
Oh, that team is awesome. I really love them. And yes, it's very important to be able to go, especially right now. I think I posted about it recently. We were doing a 6-figure exterior project. So even the more reasons for us to kind of keep an eye on that and make sure, of course, there's a property manager, right? Like they're the first line of defense. But I think that as owners, it's important to also make sure that the work is up to par with what we want, right? With our expectations. And even this morning, I was talking to an investor and I was telling her, it's always fun when you go, even as a passive investor, to be able to go touch the building and think like, oh, I'm part of this. This is mine in a way.
Definitely. I'm partners with Pace on the property that he's got in Phoenix with the Subto fund. Hopefully we can go look at it when we're at the boardroom meeting that we're having in October.
That's awesome. I love it.
You guys are going? You're going to be there?
I'm going to be there.
At least you. We've got a few things going on. I might not be able to make it, but hopefully.
Yes.
Did you enjoy Monterey?
No. Monterey, he was on puppy duty.
Oh.
I might not be able to make October. The mother-in-law is coming soon.
Yeah.
She'll be
my mom is coming from France to live with us. So when
fantastic.
she'll be here, we'll be able to take all the trips together. Right now, it's a little bit of like, every time somebody wants to go somewhere, we have to play puppy roulette.
And it's kind of wedding season a little bit too. So we, it seems like every other weekend or every month. This has actually been the quietest time we've had, and it's about to pick back up again. So. But it's all good things.
Yeah, I mean, good people, popular. You guys, If I was getting married again, I'd invite you. Awesome. I love it. So where can people find you?
Yeah. So
M2RE.
M2RE. So M2RE TX is on Facebook and Instagram. And we're pretty big on LinkedIn. I try to post there every day. So Linda Holtz, very easy.
Instagram is M2RE TX.
Yeah. So we also try to do that. Obviously, we're in Owners Club. And the website. Website is marriedtorealestate.com. It's the number 2, not TO. And as part of Owners Club, I'm also starting a class, a Subto semester next week. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be all of September with 2 other Owners Club members. So that's also another place. If you are in the Subto Owners Club or Gator and you have access to that class, definitely come give us a shout out. It's about networking, so it's apropos to our conversation right now. But find us on social media, send us an email or a text. All of that information is on our website. And like I mentioned earlier, we also like to do educational webinars. So right now we were running one for the whole summer, and tomorrow night is our last show. So
it's crazy to think it's already gone by. This will be our 4th.
Our 4th one, yeah. We did every month.
June, July, August, September, and this date was so far away, and now it's here.
That's tomorrow.
We made it fun, and we've had so much fun with it. We will likely do something again soon. We don't exactly have it. We made it interactive. We put little trivia and games, guess that market in the webinar. We try to make it as interactive as possible. So keep your eyes out. We'll definitely do something like that again soon.
Yeah, and for us, it's the whole point of that webinar was have a place where you can ask questions. So yes, we'll have a short presentation, but the bulk of the hour is anyone can ask us anything, because we found that when we first got started, yes, there was a lot of educational webinars where you sit and you're watching somebody or an expert giving you information. But there might be questions that you feel silly asking, or you don't realize that somebody else is wondering the same thing. So we wanted to be able to give that space of like judgment-free zone, no question is too new or too seasoned. If we don't know, we'll find out the answer together.
We're not afraid to go down a rabbit hole as long as we're all going down together. It's kind of, and each call we're trying to make a little bit unique, and we did that on the last one, and we probably will do it again tomorrow night. But you have to be able to come out. I mean, a lot of people who are outside of this space, they're not used to being on the Zooms with cameras on and mics off and that whole thing. And we want to both make them feel comfortable, but also get them interacting. Let them ask those questions. We are always, there's no such thing as a dumb question other than the one that doesn't get asked. Right?
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Go Gibbers there, giving out that. Congratulations on your semesters for networking.
Thank you.
I love it. So for those that watching this don't know what semesters is, if you're in the Subto community owners club or some Gator, Pace loves the Boy Scouts analogy. So when you complete a task, you get your, I forgot the medals, not medals, patches.
Oh yeah,
so
your little badge, yeah.
Yeah, your badge. So semesters is similar. Do that to learn it, to get a badge to show that you've gone through this training and that you're educated in this portion. And you got to take I believe, a test to do it. I haven't done any, so I'm behind on that.
Yeah, but it's same thing as you. I haven't done any yet. Like this year, I'm doing my first ones, not just the one I'm teaching, but others. So I didn't realize, but yeah, every week you have quizzes, and at the end you have like the big one, and every week there's homework. So it's serious stuff for sure.
Yes, that's great. You're doing that. So you love networking, and now you're teaching it. That's the best way to learn something and to become better at it is to teach it to others. So I'm happy for you in that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know we met up recently. It was it was back some months now. So a golden ticket, you were a deal maker with the RVs and the water park, right?
Yeah, that's right. That was the deal that I presented back there. And that's what we really wanted to teach on networking. Again, this is something that is very dear to our heart because we really believe that it's all about, like, if you get out of your comfort zone, if you get out there and show what you're working on, other opportunities will come. So for example, that deal, going back to don't want to share only the good parts, unfortunately, we're not working on it anymore because it was going to be a new construction, and the financing was taking too long where we were not going to be able to finish the construction by the time of the season. So it kind of got pushed to the back burner until next year. But that being said, being there, presenting that deal has opened so many opportunities. And right now, for example, we are on a deal that we're raising for because we met the team at that event. So definitely get out there, and that's our final message of today is get out of your comfort zone because you never know. Even if you open a door, that door might open to like 3 different windows.
find comfort in the discomfort. And I mean, I was watching the live stream from here when you went up there. I was probably more scared and nervous for you than you were. She killed the presentation, as you know, and then as she mentioned, it led to some other opportunities. You never know who's watching. Yeah. And I will say it wasn't for lack of effort and work and expertise on her and our side, but things happen.
And also always like hone your craft, right? Like don't get out there if you have no clue what you're doing. And the reason I mentioned that, for example, is because we did do a class last year about public speaking and how to, I don't want to say pitch for legal reasons, but again, disclaimer, but how to best present opportunities in front of crowds, in front of individual investors. So it's not a bad thing to always invest in yourself and in your own education and in like crafting your skills the right way out there. So
but you got to use it. And
you got to use it once you have it.
We hadn't really, or not together at least. We had done so many in that class over Zoom and everything. And that's probably what led to that ease that I felt at the Ranch Real Estate Meetup when we presented in Tel's Meetup, which is all that kind of training and class came knocked back in, and it was just like it was those nights.
Absolutely. And it was a lot of fun.
We always have a good time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Those meetups that they put together here in the Houston area are great. Recently went to Casey Gregerson. Shout out to him. Yeah. Do you guys know him, Casey?
Yeah.
Have you met him? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know him yet, but I've heard of him, and it's funny because somebody actually told me to reach out to him last night, and now you're telling me to reach out. I think that's a sign.
Well, now I'm going to invite you to his little meetup he's having at his house. It's in Memorial West, West Timer, Beltway 8.
We used to live in the Memorial area. That's so funny. So yeah.
Okay, I'll send you the link. Hopefully we can see y'all there. It's a couple hours on Saturday for his Revive Summit. And then going back to your networking semesters, you're going to be with Matt Starr. That's my boy. Shout out Matt Starr.
Shout out to Matt. Yeah. Matt was definitely one of those connections. It's amazing to network and to meet a lot of people and see how you can help each other out all the time. But once in a while, you meet that one person where you're like, oh, you are not letting go. So definitely Matt is like that. He's a sweetheart.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's like we get along so well, and we're trying to make a deal work together a couple of times here and there, but things happen. But I have such a good-hearted person. He's been through a lot.
Absolutely.
What do you guys need?
Well,
good question.
Yeah, for us right now, it's going back to we just want to help out and bring value. Obviously, we're always looking for deals, investors, or both. But anything that we can do to help the next person, whatever you need help with, even if we may not have the solution ourselves. Again, we pride ourselves on getting out there and knowing people. So always happy to refer. We
expanding the network. That's
expanding the network. Right? That's the number one thing for us.
There's strength in numbers. So what we need is people to reach out. We reach out to a lot of people, but it's hard to connect with everybody. And, that's why we have Edgar the Connector.
That's right.
Thank you for that. I love it.
That's right. We'll also have a meetup. So same thing. If that can help somebody, that one is virtual. So if that can help somebody, definitely come to that
Thursdays
too.
at 11 Central.
Thursdays at 11 Central. And, but yeah, that's what we're looking for is expanding the network and helping people win. So if we could do that for you, reach out.
Great. Are you looking for any employees, bird dogs, anything like that?
So right now, hopefully we're allowed to talk about it. But as you know, Edgar, there was a new rollout with business acquisitions within all the Subto communities. And we're definitely going to be interested in expanding that. So yes, at some point, we're going to be looking for bird dogs to bring us land opportunities for that. For those who are not familiar or who are not in the communities, it's going to be related to buying car washes, which is something that has been in the back of our mind for a while now, is buying those unsexy businesses, like Cody Sanchez says. But we love those. We love the cash flow. We love the concept. And so when Paige started talking about car washes, me personally, I was all in. So at some point, we're going to look for people to partner with on that for sure. And then, other than that, it's deals in Texas, and anybody who wants to invest passively, send them our way. So if somebody out there is like, hey, I want to get into multifamily and I'm not sure how, but half a dozen people in my family want to invest, and I'm willing to educate them on a deal and I want to help them get on a deal with me and wedge myself by doing that. Come to us. Like we said earlier, if it's not one of our deals, we'll send you to somebody who can help out. That's kind of our thing.
Great. I have some deals I got to send y'all.
Here you go. Love it.
I'm trying to get into multifamily, so I'll put it on my buy box, even though I don't know much about it yet. Knowing wonderful people like you that can help me get my foot up there to help scale me faster. That's the way to do it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that you touched on something important is imposter syndrome can be tough to overcome, but and of course I don't really like the phrase "fake it till you make it," but if there's something you want to do, go for it. Say that this is what you do, own it, and opportunities will come. One time, somebody told me, if you are an investor and you're educating yourself and already going through the process, you're already investing in your own development. So that makes you an investor with or without property already. And I was like, that is a very good point. That's so. Right. Definitely own it. If there's something that you want to work on and that you're doing the work, put it out there. The universe will deliver.
Very, very insightful. Thank you so much for that. So earlier you were mentioning that you are from another country and your mom's coming from France. So I assume you're from France as well?
Yes, born and raised. That's right. So
nice.
I actually came to the US 13 years ago now. So at the time I was, it wasn't planned at all. Actually, my school sent me. I was doing a business school and I was finishing my master's, and it was part of the curriculum to spend the summer in New York. And I really liked it. And I said, if I can find a job, I will. The following year, I was supposed to do an internship. So I said, if I can find a job, that will be my internship, and I will stay for 1 year. And it's been 13 years. America cannot get rid of me.
And then from New York, you went to Chicago, and then Connor said, "You're not going back."
That's right.
It's funny, and I mean, we go over there quite often. And I was like many of my friends from Chicago, like not very well traveled when I met her. She had been to all these European countries, and I was like, well, I went on a cruise when I was like 12 out of New Orleans, and we saw some cool places. And then I've been to Canada once, which is pretty much the Midwest. But we go over there, and you're around people that live in Paris, London, Switzerland, and we talk about what we do here. And these people all work, very fancy, awesome jobs, or with high fashion, or doing all these really amazing things where we're envious of them and they're envious of us because we're able to be here, and the laws are maybe a little different, or how
and do the whole real estate thing.
Yeah, and they look at us like business owners and going out here and making those big jumps. So it's always a very proud moment for me that we're able to do that around such great company. But yeah, I mean, we love France, and we always think about it when we're over there. We're like, what does syndication, or does it happen over here? What does it look like? Because we would love to maybe branch into that someday down the line.
Absolutely. And shout out to April Elias. I met her at the M2RE retreat, and she's already investing in Portugal. And I told her right away, I was like, oh my gosh, I am from another country where I would love to invest, and I haven't even made the jump. So kudos to you for doing that. And she was telling me it's really not that hard. And yeah, that's definitely something that I think is on our list, is to eventually invest abroad.
Yeah, I was about to mention, have you met April Elias? Shout out to her. Her in Portugal. She picked it up Subto. For those watching that don't know what Subto is, it's picking up a property and taking over their current payments. The real rough explanation to it. That's amazing. From France. I was wondering, what is your family that you grew up with, or people that know? So you're doing what in the United States? Is that illegal? Because it's probably not something that's allowed in France, right?
Yeah, and
we don't even.
I don't even know.
I mean, one part that makes it very appealing to me is it's just the European culture is sort of to build up a little bit. So you'll have kind of like mid-rise apartment buildings, even in smaller towns, whereas here it's kind of single family homes. Suburbs, so that part, it's and there's always opportunity. You just gotta kind of have to figure it out.
For sure.
Make the jump, right? We've made plenty of jumps, and to go back to like, what does Linda's family think? Linda is such a rock star and so ambitious, and literally the rising star.
So they think I'm crazy.
No, at this point they're not even surprised. At this point, there's not, and I can get that because I'm not surprised either.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sorry, my hands are.
Oh, fantastic. I work with some Canadians, and we're always talking about it, and I'm telling them about what we can do. I drive them around here during lunch. We go show them different spots. Like, man, we can't do any of that here in Canada. So it's big different. And earlier you mentioned her about going to so many countries in Europe. I mean, it's like driving through Texas,
Yeah.
They're all so much closer together. Driving to Texas, driving to Houston, you go through a couple of countries.
That is so true. I mean, we just drove.
In September, we were back for talk about wedding season. Well, it's a year ago now, but about a year ago, we were back for her cousin's wedding, and we were in France, and we ended up having dinner in Luxembourg.
Yeah, and we had to go through Germany to get to the dinner place.
And it was really fast because we were on the Autobahn, so it only took like 45 minutes to go through 3 countries. And for them, it's normal. It's EU, so there's free passage or however it's called. But for us, we were like, this is like Sugarland or Rosenberg to Baytown, pretty much.
I mean, I remember the first time. So where I grew up, my hometown is very close to the border with Switzerland. And I remember the first time that we took Connor to Switzerland, and you were so excited about seeing the border. And I think you fell asleep or something happened where you missed it. And he was like, what happened to the border? It's like, that's it. We passed it. Like, nothing happens. You just drive through.
There's no real checkpoint. I opened my eyes and I was like, this looks a little mountainous. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're in Switzerland now. But that's how it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's like here going through the different states. There's no borders there. It's just a little sign says "Welcome to the state."
Absolutely. And right now, like my little cousin is coming with his wife the one who got married and we had to go to Luxembourg. They're coming in a couple of weeks just to visit. And so, of course, they're very excited about Texas because, like Connor was saying, as much as we see it and we're like, oh, this is a totally different culture and environment, it's the same thing for them. So they cannot wait to see Texas and see how big it is. And it's going to be funny to take them to, like, a football game and a baseball game and all of that. So,
yeah. All the stadiums here in Houston, and then barbecue. Got to take them to barbecue.
That's true.
We already got a couple spots in line, so we'll be all over that, and we'll have a good time with it. But you hit the nail on the head. Even with Canada, it's very close. We're very lucky. We're just very lucky to be able to do what we do here, and I know things can change, sort of state to state, economically, whatever. But for us, I mean, that's why we got into this. We're regular people. We're able to do this. We didn't grow up thinking, even in the early part of our real estate journey, that this was possible for people in our position. I always thought it was the big conglomerates that did this. And so we're just
very rich people.
Yeah. And we're very, very fortunate. That's kind of why we try to pay it forward and, educate while opening the door for Holtzing the door.
Holtz the door is the name of our educational webinar.
Another Game of Thrones reference. I tried to throw out there.
Door.
Yeah, thank you. You might have been the only one to get it all summer, so I appreciate before our last episode that someone did. But yeah, and I always tell them it's like not only like we're holding it open because Hodor was closing. It's okay. The details.
It's still the same phrase. Hold the door.
We're helping.
If it's open or closed, hold the door.
Yeah. So, we just want to pay it forward and do that like it's been done for us.
Absolutely. And I think one thing too, Connor touched on how lucky we are here in the US. It's the land of opportunity, as cheesy as it may sound. I still, me personally, believe in that coming from another place. And recently, a friend of mine who is Canadian, but has lived in Asia for years before, went back there to explain how it works to invest in the US, and was like doing a presentation, but like in person in, I believe, Mandarin. And so when he came back, he was telling me that, back there for them, 5% return is something amazing. And for us, most of our deals are more like, again, it's all projections, disclaimer, like, I'm just throwing out examples out there. So don't think that this is like a black and white way of thinking. But for us, most of our deals are anywhere from 15 to maybe 20, 22% for the very, very good ones. When I say that, what I mean is annualized return. So yeah, when you go to a country where they're used to 5 and you tell them, well, my last one was 18%. I mean, this is crazy to think that we're able to not just have access to that, but also have access to it at our level, if it's okay to say it that way.
Oh, yeah. 18%, take that, stock market.
I know, right?
And then with this, you got great people like the Holtz here, holding the door for you. Holtz in the door for you.
That's right.
They're not going to get that in stocks. So it's fantastic. True. I love it.
I will say, so in France, I don't know if they do bigger apartment complexes like we do here. I'm not sure if that exists. I haven't checked yet. But I will say that the smaller things with triplexes and quads and house hacking, that I have actually seen coaches teaching people to do it with the French laws in French. And to me, it's such a trip to like see a webinar where it's like French people. I'm like, oh, wow.
I think that's if there was a, what's in store for us in the next couple of years, that's probably at least going down that rabbit hole and kicking the tires. I mean, Linda's got such a persona and such a charisma, but also the intelligence to be able to do that and open the doors. I mean, you have such a network back home that is strong, and we built such a network here. So that's definitely something we're stabilizing ourselves here and building stuff here brick by brick. But in the future, that's definitely something we're going to put some more time and thought into.
Yeah, and I think that you're right that it's all about helping people, because if they're like us, they don't even know that it's an option. So I think that's our whole thing is let's at least tell people that it's possible. And then whether they do it or not, whether they do it with us or not, it doesn't matter. But let's at least help them realize what's available to them.
I will say there's obviously such a difference that is apparent in the American or the French or European mentality. But one thing I definitely many things I appreciate about French mentality is that whenever they're proposed with something like this, it's like, why not?
Yeah.
You know, like America is definitely, let's just get it done. And there's nothing that's going to stop us from getting it done. But the French definitely have an ambition on that end too, where it's like, why not us? And we can make it happen. So
absolutely.
Wouldn't be surprised if it worked out.
There's definitely a much bigger work-life balance culture there. So I think that probably also adds to that, where people are like, for sure, I want time freedom, right?
Yeah.
Like to us, that's the big thing. It's like, yeah, financial freedom is nice, but give me time freedom. Give me something that helps me to travel all over the world, where I can run my business in Singapore today and Australia tomorrow. Like, who cares, right? So yeah, I think that on that they get it. It's very different. The hustle culture is it has its pros and cons, but it's definitely more alive here than there.
Yeah, I love that about the work-life balance. That's something that they're probably more used to than we are here in the States. But somebody in France is listening to this, or somebody in Europe, and you know how to get involved in investing, reach out to the married to real estate couple here, and holds the door for them to see if they can get them scaled up faster, sooner, start getting some units over there, and maybe I can get a room for free for a little bit. I haven't been in Europe for a little bit, you know, just for a week or two, a month.
and you heard it here first, but I have been thinking in the back of my mind about doing a webinar in French, because, and I was just talking to another lady recently, originally from Haiti. So she speaks French, even though she lives in California. And so she was the second person to tell me, oh, how about doing that? And I was like, you know what? I have thought about it before. You're now the second person to bring that up. Maybe we will do that.
I think we have to.
Maybe we will do a webinar.
This is the night of signs. We have to read them when they're in front of us.
That's right. That's very true. Take the opportunity when it presents itself.
So say something to an investor in French.
Oh,
and
okay.
then we'll do a short and put that short out there, and I'll have my first French short, and maybe it reaches out somebody there, you know, and I can do a connection, live up to my name, Edgar the Connector.
I love it. All right. Donc pour tout le monde qui nous écoute ce soir ou aujourd'hui, definitely. Pour sûr, connectez-vous au podcast de Edgar the Connector et contactez-nous et on sera très heureux de vous aider.
Bravo.
All I know how to say is je ne sais pas.
It works.
Hey, if you understood that, drop a comment, you know, give us a
That's
like.
Right.
It's free. Subscribe to the channel.
That's
and
right.
If you want to get into multifamily, reach out to the Holtz. They'll Holtz the door for you to walk in and learn. They're going to show you. She's already doing a semester's course. They do the monthly or the seasonal education that they give out. That's free, right?
That's
There's
right.
no charge to it.
Nope.
And the go-givers out there, because we can raise the tide for all boats when we're being go-givers like the wonderful Holtz are here.
Absolutely. Love that.
Before we go, earlier you did mention one advice I like to have is ask people to give advice to people that are starting either in real estate or entrepreneur. Earlier you mentioned get out of your comfort zone. What is something else that you like to offer up?
Great question.
Yeah, I mean, for me, getting out of your comfort zone is so important, because I think the bottom line is go ahead and try. What's the worst that can happen, right? Worst case, you fail. So what? You know, sometimes I think that we get hung up on thinking about the worst case scenario, but really when you face it, is it going to kill you? Like, is it going to like ruin you? Like, you know, so many people have gone through so many different things in life. And I think it's okay to understand, like, a failure is not the end. Quitting or not trying is the end. So,
not learning from that failure. That's how
Exactly.
I learned my whole life, and whether that be professionally or in school. And so I find myself feeling silly when I get afraid of failing or trying new things nowadays, because it's how I've gotten here, and I like being here pretty much. My thing, especially if it's somebody, whether they're in real estate, in business, notice people who have experience that can be in the profession or in age, shadow them, you know, get coffee with them, soak up that knowledge. There's so much to be gained from the more experienced, more tenured, more seasoned people. And, you know, while they're here, definitely gain as much knowledge as you can, because they're just willing to pass it on. So find a mentor, and be teachable.
Yeah.
And that's my big advice. It can be easy. When people are giving advice, listen. Don't just, understand. Don't just listen. Don't, necessarily just regurgitate words back. Understand what they mean. There's a lot of advice that I did not necessarily understand when I was younger until years later. So I would definitely seek out a mentor and be as teachable as possible.
Yours was so much better than mine.
Well, you had you had the French line, so
okay. So you felt like, that makes sense. Yeah. But I love that. Yeah.
Each of you will be talking to somebody different that's going to vibe with them. So it's you
That's
may not think
true.
it's better, but for somebody else, you're going to resonate with them. Somebody else, Connor's going to resonate for them.
That's very true.
Very true. We have that happen all the time.
Yeah.
I love it. Wonderful. Be out of your comfort zone. Find a mentor. Fell forward. Most likely you fell. It's not going to kill you. Yeah. If it is, think again. Be teachable.
Yeah.
I love it. Before we go, make sure you tell us your biggest takeaway in the comments below. Huge thank you to the Holtz, Linda, and Connor. And hey, reach out to them and they're going to hold the door for you.
That's right. And thank you. A big shout out to you, Edgar, for having us on. It was a blast. So
absolutely.
Anything you ever need, you know where to find us. And everybody definitely subscribe because this is an awesome channel. I'm subscribed to. You're subscribed. So.
Edgar's the best in the game.
That's right.
Thank you so much. It means so much. I'm signing off to the next episode. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Catch this next podcast where you can start your dreams and start to own your time the way these other guests have.